That's better now. All that's left is to take that chin and tilt it up to meet my gaze. And by Beelzebub's wings, a face as exquisite as your voice. Are you a siren then? At least partially one, given your talents. Human, really? Intriguing. Where did you come from, my dear? How did you come to be here, in my palace? I see. So, you were stolen from the mortal realm during a raid. The slavers brought you here to sell Soren and sold you to the palace. What do you do here? Ah. But if you usually work in the kitchens, what are you doing out here in the terrace? Ah, of course. Hence the scrub brush and the bucket of soapy water. This isn't one of your regular chores then. In that case, I suppose I'm quite fortunate that I chose this time and place to take a break. Oh, long enough. 3 or 4 songs, perhaps? Look at those cheeks, glowing like burning coals. They're even warm to the touch. And just when I thought you couldn't get any more radiant, you're making it harder and harder for me to keep my composure. I heard that little gasp. What's the matter, darling? Does my touch burn you? I've been told it's like a brush with an open flame. Or is it perhaps the feel of my obsidian claws? As sharp as a razor? Don't be afraid, darling. True, they could easily slice through anything, be it metal, rock, or bone. But, as I've said, you have nothing to fear from me. Or if it's none of that, then perhaps it's just the honor of having the Prince of the Abyss himself caress you. Is that it? Well, I suppose that depends. What is it you wish to ask me? My favorite of your songs. You'd really ask me to choose between them? Well, I quite enjoyed the ballad of the Dryad and her lover, the water nymph. If only he had lived. Fate is an unforgiving harlot, but at least the Dryad was granted the mercy of staying beside him for all eternity, becoming a tree on the bank of his pond. If I remember correctly, it was called a weeping willow. Is that right? Yes, beautiful indeed. Your mortal stories are quite different from ours. Our abyssal tales are largely about conquest, subjugating the weak, teaching mortals their place. It's refreshing to hear a story that isn't about a battle or a war. However, to answer your question, I think my favorite was the one about the maiden and the owlbear. The way she took pity on the poor creature, setting her own fear aside in order to pluck was somewhat cliche that the creature ended up being a prince in disguise. But even a demon like myself can appreciate a happy ending. Her kindness reminds me of you. You're humble. On top of everything else, a voice more alluring than a siren, beauty to rival Lilith herself, and a tenderness that's withstood even the cruelest blows of fate. And yet, you slave away in the kitchens? Well now, that won't do, will it? Oh no, my little bird. Put that brush down. You won't be scrubbing anything else today. Or ever again, in fact. You, take my little bird to the east wing. Give them a room of their own, some new clothes, and full access to the baths. They are to have all of the privileges of the harem afforded to them. And if anyone dares to argue, let them be flogged. That's right, my dear. You are no longer a mere kitchen slave. As of now, you are part of my harem. Never again will those beautiful hands be split and chapped from harsh soap and scrubbing. Instead, you'll spend your days reclining on silken couches. You'll be given fresh food, warm baths, private gardens to walk in. You can sing to your heart's content, without fear, and your only task will be to serve me, however I deem fit. Oh yes, rest assured, I will definitely have you sing for me. However, your voice is hardly the only alluring thing about you, darling. Your singing is beautiful, but so is the rest of you. If you continue to please me, you may even receive the ultimate honor. Yes, that's right. Imagine a mere human, a former kitchen maid, getting to share the bed of Prince Borhamas himself. There's that humility once again. Please don't think yourself unworthy, my dear. My word is law after all. And I say, you are as worthy as even the highest nobles of Silsorin. What? Oh, my darling. Still with that enduring shyness. Come now. You wouldn't seriously think of going back to the kitchens. Not when I've offered you the world, all in an instant. You must simply be overwhelmed with your good fortune. Yes, that must be it. Well, I assure you, it's not some sort of cruel trick. It's real. You truly get to be mine. Now run along and get yourself washed up. Make sure you keep yourself presentable. I don't know how much longer I'm going to be able to restrain myself.